The way things are happening, it seems like this Dele Farotimi case is going to be long, because what people are insinuating is gradually getting clearer. And what is that? People are insinuating that the main reason why they arrested Dele Farotimi is yet to be mentioned, and it is looking like it. Because can you imagine, he was arrested on the basis of defamation against Afe Babalola, but before you know what is happening, police has pressed cybercrime charges, but people are still saying nehi, say lie, that the main thing is yet to be mentioned. And you know that David Hundeyin has also done investigation and said that there is unseen hand of Esau masquerading behind. That is gearing to the what people are saying, that it seems like the main thing is yet to be mentioned. And don't be surprised if tomorrow you hear the charges of T. In case if you don't know T, ask your neighbor. But nevertheless, let me allow you to listen to the lawyers of Afe Babalola addressing Nigerians, because you all know that since this matter started, the name of Afe Babalola has been on the lips of every Nigerian, criticizing him seriously for what he has done. So listen to them and share your thought with me on the comment section. And after that, I'll be back. Let's go there.
It was on Tuesday, December 3rd, that the news broke that a Lagos-based legal practitioner, Dele Farotimi, had been arrested by the police for alleged criminal libel. One of the early reactions came from Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola, who confirmed the arrest and demanded the release of Mr. Farotimi from what he described as illegal custody. Babalola said, in demanding for Mr. Farotimi's unconditional release from illegal custody, I wish to state without any fear of contradiction that Lagos State is among the 2 states in Nigeria that have decriminalized defamation in its entirety. The other state is Edo. But the news soon emerged that Mr. Farotimi had been taken to Ekiti State. The police command in the state confirmed that they got a warrant of arrest based on a petition written to the Commissioner of Police in the state. The complainant, Chief Afe Babalola, speaking through his lawyer, Owoseni Ajayi, at a press conference on Friday, December 5th, said the human rights activist, who has now been remanded by the Ekiti Magistrate Court, will be free if he can prove the allegations leveled against him. The lawyer said the defamatory remarks Farotimi made against Babalola in his book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, were targeted to injure the hard-earned reputation of the legal icon, which cannot be remedied by any award of damages.
In view of the above, I humbly request that you, that is to the Commission of Police, use your good office to invite Mr. Dele Farotimi to show proof of the truthfulness of his publication, failure of which he should be prosecuted for criminal defamation in accordance with the requirement of the extant laws of Nigeria. Is it wrong? We are asking, is it wrong for Afe Babalola to seek justice for these false utterances against him? Should justice only be available to Mr. Dele Farotimi because Afe Babalola is a global icon? He's a big man, has no right to defend himself against destruction of his image he has struggled to build up? These are the questions we're asking people who never care to know the truth and the background to the trial and the arrest of Dele Farotimi. When Mr. Dele Farotimi can show proof that his assertions in the book are true, then he will be free. Until then, the law allows free speech, but not only that, but not one that is calculated to injure the good reputation of another. There is freedom to free speech. You friends, you understand that has limitation. These defamatory remarks made in the book cannot be remedied by the award of damages. How much is the state to be going to pay Afe Babalola that will satisfy what he has done to him? Also, the book is being distributed and accessed in Ekiti. So long as defamation is a crime in Ekiti, this has established criminal liability within Ekiti, placing it under the investigatory jurisdiction of the police and the jurisdiction of the Ekiti State High Court, given the cross-state nature of the alleged crime.
This press briefing perhaps shed some light on why the legal team did not file a civil suit like many believe that they should have done. In its reaction to the arrest, the Nigerian Bar Association condemned the move by the Nigerian police. On defamation charges, the NBA emphasized that defamation is a civil matter and not a criminal offense in Lagos State. The association also called for the immediate release of Farotimi. In his reaction, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Wahab Shitu, called for a truce and an amicable resolution of the matter very quickly too, by concerned and eminent members of the society concerned about the cohesiveness and unity of the country. He said, no matter the seriousness of the issue, I believe there is a window of opportunity to find a middle ground of resolving the impasse without endangering reputations and bruising the respective egos of the parties involved in the controversy. I urge elements on both sides to sheath their swords and work for peace. Interestingly, a lot of senior lawyers have declined to give their opinions on tape on the issue, suggesting that there are moves to broker peace and find a solution that works. But attention will now shift to the law courts on Tuesday, December 10, when the matter will come up again. I will keep following the developments and bring them to you as they unfold. Now, I had a chat with a senior advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola, and here's what he had to say about that matter.
I can tell you that today he was charged to court at Ado-Ekiti at the magistrate court. But even though it's sub judice, but I don't want to talk much about the case. But I can say that in libel, there's civil libel, there's criminal libel. And the criminal libel is covered by the Criminal Code Law of Nigeria. And what it says is that if you publish anything, other article, books, that is ambiguous of a person, you can be charged to court. So, for people who are saying, because what the truth of the matter is, if you publish something and you know that you can defend it, you can stand by it, you don't need to be afraid. But if you are public, because it's for the protection of public peace. So many allegations sometimes are capable. In fact, what the criminal code says is constitutes breach of the peace, because the person you are published against can take laws into his hands. He may decide to defend himself. He may decide to do anything, and that can lead to a breach of the peace. So, but the truth of the matter is, the law provides that while you are being prosecuted for civil, the law also provides you to be prosecuted in criminal. So, but you know, people don't know the law, and when they don't know, they can make allegations and say, no, it's just libel. And the truth of the matter is, wherever that publication is made, for example, you write a book, and I'm able to read it in Ado-Ekiti or in Sokoto, the person who has published that book can be prosecuted anywhere the book is read. So that is the
Because
position.
senior advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola, says that I state without any fear of contradiction, Lagos State is among the 2 states in Nigeria that have decriminalized defamation in its entirety. In fact, the current state of the law was confirmed by the Supreme Court of Nigeria in the case of Aviomo versus Commissioner of Police, where Helen Ogunwumiju JSA held that defamation was decriminalized in the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2011 and Edo State Criminal Law Bill.
Yes, that is Lagos and Edo.
Okay.
But we are talking of Ado and other states who have not decriminalized their own
laws on defamation.
So, and he is being prosecuted in Ado-Ekiti. The person involved is Chief Afe Babalola, and he is saying that he is defamed by Dele Farotimi, and that he read the books in Ado-Ekiti. So he can be prosecuted in Ado-Ekiti.
So the fact that the law has been decriminalized in Lagos and Edo.
No, he can be resident in Lagos, but the defamation and publication was made in Ado. So the person who has been defamed in Ado has the rights for that person to be prosecuted where he was defamed.
Of course, we also spoke about other issues. I asked him to assess how well the judiciary has fared, especially this year, as the year gradually closes out.
I would say the judiciary has done well.
Really?
Really, done well. You see, the public, their own assessments may be different from the way we lawyers are looking at it.
Yes.
Because we are in the field, is our business, is our day-to-day that we go to court. Let me give you a very simple recent one. Look at Emefiele, the former CBN governor. Nobody will have thought that the court will confiscate properties of over 700 in Abuja alone. But it's the judiciary. Nobody can do it. The police cannot do it. The armed forces cannot do it. If they don't take him to court, the judiciary cannot confiscate those properties. So those are the things. And you see, the issue with those who are not lawyers, is because they don't know what plays out in court. It's not their profession. So, and then it's only when you see some cases, the way you think about it, you feel this is the way it should go.
Yes.
But as a lawyer and as a judge in the court, it doesn't go that way, because there are so many things that goes with a case. So, but I will tell you that, like judiciary, definitely is the last hope of the common man. You can't do it. And for the whole year, for so many cases I've gone, even look at Bello.
Bello.
Yes, Yaya Bello. It's been taken to court. Even though some cases lose controversial, but that's the way people look at it. But for we lawyers, we know where it is. I will give the judiciary a pass mark.
It's interesting that you say that, because there's a lot of distrust of the judiciary, and especially when it comes to cases of conflicting court judgments. The judiciary has come under a lot of criticism for that. The public looks at some of the decisions. When you look at the reverse politics case, and then when you look at the decision with the Kano stool, the Emirates case, and how the judiciary handled it, a lot of people are not quite happy with the judiciary.
Let me tell you, what plays out is that most of those cases you are talking about majorly are political. And they are political, and the people involved makes them sensational. But it takes two to tango. When you talk of conflicting judgments, you see someone going to file a case that is meant for Rivers State in Abuja, or in Kano, or in Kaduna. But it is not the judge that will file the case. It is the lawyers that are involved. But at the end of the day, the only thing that I've always been said is that where there are conflicting judgments, the Supreme Court is the final arbiter. So if you have, and that's why you have High Court, you have Court of Appeal, and you have Supreme Court. So if somebody has taken, you cannot prevent someone from taking a case to court. It's left for the judge and the judiciary to rule on that case. Not most times that people feel that I feel, no. So for us who are practitioners, we know that even where you go and file a frivolous case, the court is there to do the right thing.
I'm glad that you've talked about the involvement of lawyers, because when litigants are pushing lawyers to forum shop or file cases on already decided matters, this is the kind of outcomes that we have. But with regards to the discipline of lawyers who file such cases, when they know that there's already a predetermined, there's precedent, and then they still go and file, cases on such matters because the litigants are pushing them. Do you think that we have enough sanctions, or is the NBA, has it been living up? Because we saw that the judges involved in some of those cases were disciplined by the NJC a couple of weeks back, but we've not heard of any corresponding action.
Some of these cases are actually reported. But you are a lawyer, but for those who are not lawyers, they may not be able to read. Is what people see on social media they talk about. But let me say this. Before you can sanction a lawyer, you must write a petition against that lawyer.
Really?
Yes, because
if it's glaring, that's...
No, social media is not glaring. What is reported on the social media or in the news is not glaring. Because the body saddled with the responsibility of discipline lawyers is the Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee, LPDC. And the LPDC, before they can take action, you must write a petition to LPDC.
Even when the NJC has moved against judges on some of these cases, should the NBA still be waiting for petition?
No. There are two different bodies entirely.
Yes.
The NJC, which is National Judicial Council,
yes,
deals alone with judges.
Yes.
While the LPDC deals alone with lawyers.
So my question is, if the NJC has dealt with judges in respect of some particular cases, yes, the lawyers involved in those cases, would the NBA's LPDC still say it's waiting for petition when it is glaring that the NJC has moved against the judges in such cases?
It depends on the circumstances. In such circumstances where evidence are led to show that the lawyer is involved, sometimes
lawyers are always involved.
No,
they argue the cases before these judges.
No. Okay, let me give you the example of the age falsification.
Well, that's a different one.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but if a lawyer is involved and is brought before the NJC, then the NJC sometimes have done it. they will write a petition
to the NBA, recommending
the prosecution.
I have seen that happen, yes.
The prosecution of that lawyer. It has been done before. But let me tell you, it depends on the circumstances. It's not every time that, even where a judge is being dealt with by NJC, then the lawyer who has argued the case before the judge must also be punished. It doesn't go that way. It's the circumstances.
Talking about reforms in the judiciary and as a way of rounding up, there are those who say that for there to be reforms in the judiciary, it must start with the NJC, the leadership of the NJC, talking about the Chief Justice of Nigeria and all of that. There are those who also believe that if a retired judge headed the NJC and non-lawyers were allowed to become members, that is, we'll have more back and bite as a way of reforms. What do you think about that?
The National Judicial Council is composed of judges.
And some senior lawyers.
And some senior lawyers. Yes, representing the bar. So what will a non-lawyer go and do there? What will he say?
They can bring the perspective of the average or the common man.
No, which common man? See, you cannot talk about something you don't know about. We are talking law. It's law that they are talking there. So if somebody who is not a non-lawyer wants to come to NJC and we now start talking about roadside talk and somebody.
A lot of people are knowledgeable these days about.
No, it's not about being a professor. I'm not degrading anybody. No, it's just like me now going to medical school to want to talk about medicine or to engineering. Will I not be fooling myself?
But you can talk about some of the ills that maybe the professionals in that sector can't quite see, and you as a user of the service, is seeing from the outside.
We are not talking of ills here. The ills you are talking about is the discipline of your members.
Yes.
The discipline of your members. A third party who is not your member cannot come and discipline your member for you. It's not possible. Because the NJC is composed and considered to discipline its members. So a third party who is not a lawyer, who is not a judge, will now come from outside to come and start talking about discipline your members. It's not possible.
Welcome back. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has asked young people in the country to close ranks, unite, and confront the monster of corruption. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede made this request in his speech to youths who gathered at the Commission's office in Lagos on Thursday for an event to commemorate the 2024 International Anti-Corruption Day. The event had the theme, Uniting the Youth Against Corruption, Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity. Olukoyede, who was represented at the event by the Acting Zonal Director of the Lagos Directorate, Michael Wetkas, highlighted the harmful effects of practices such as nepotism, favoritism, partisan, and other extraneous considerations designed to tilt opportunities in favor of a few privileged people. He urged the youth to form clubs, associations, societies, and think tanks to promote integrity and good values. The Acting Zonal Director of EFCC, Michael Wetkas, who spoke further on the issue, also reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to tackling cybercrime and corruption, while other speakers at the event encouraged the youth to continue to do their part in creating the kind of future that everyone yearns for.
There is no way corruption can be tackled if we allow it around us without a challenge. Youths have formidable roles to play in this regard. More important in this crusade against corruption is the overarching necessity of individuals and corporate accountability. This entails making a decision against corruption. No matter the structure any youth may want to form against corrupt practices, without a self-driven resolve to reject such practices, no other framework can work. This means that personal choices and decisions against corruption count better than any other forces that you want to watch. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, every unifying action against corruption promises better prospects for all our youth. I urge them to embrace this alternative and make it a new rule of engagement against corruption. The youth hold the road of the future in any nation. They should use their brains and brawn to fashion out the future they desire for themselves. The EFCC is always willing to lend a hand in this regard. We have initiated so many measures to educate and engage young people, and even building cybercrime research center to build capacities against internet fraud. Let our youth see a better future ahead of them by choosing the pathway of integrity.
You see, the fight against corruption is not just a moral one, as the predecessors, those who have spoken before me, have said. Section 15, subsection 5 of the Constitution, and if you have, you can Google it, speaks directly to this issue about fight against corruption, and insists that the Nigerian state, as a country, must fight against corruption and any form of abuse of power. That's section 15. That section 15 is contained in your fundamental objectives and directive principle of state policy. In other words, it is one of those aspirations, one of those targets to which Nigeria is committed, if indeed we must be seen as a nation within the Committee of Civilized Nations. So, constitutionally, we are bound to fight corruption. So, the Constitution makes a clear provision of what the state aspires to do in relation to a corrupt-free society. Section 15 of the Constitution. It creates agencies, one after the other. EFCC, ICPC before it, and so on and so forth. And why is corruption still continuing? It is that in the midst of these legal frameworks, the component of people's participation, above all, people's ownership, has not crystallized. And this is why I think it is instructive, very, very instructive, that the youths are targeted. That's my first point. So I make this point just to underscore a very important fact that we must own it, take responsibility, and drive it. EFCC is there, but we must find a way, including this gathering, including the responsibility you have to enlighten, sensitize other people when you live here, to ensure that the fight against corruption indeed actually consolidates in this country.
And just before we go, a quick look at some of the major court stories we tracked this week.
We begin with the report that the Nigerian police has filed a fresh cybercrime charge against human rights activist and lawyer Dele Farotimi, following the allegation of criminal defamation leveled against him by senior advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola. The fresh 12-count charge, which was filed before the Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, is coming 3 days after his arraignment and remand on an initial 16-count charge of criminal defamation before a Chief Magistrate's Court, also in Ado-Ekiti. At his arraignment on December 3rd, Farotimi pleaded not guilty to the counts. Chief Magistrate Abayomi Adeosun ordered that he be remanded in the Ado-Ekiti Correctional Center, pending the filing of a formal bail application. He adjourned the case till Tuesday, December 10th, to hear the bail application. The new charge largely focused on Mr. Farotimi's comments in online interviews, where he reiterated allegations made in his book, whereas the case before the Chief Magistrate's Court centered on excerpts from the book. It is, however, unclear if the police will eventually drop the case at the Magistrate Court in favor of the new charge.
You get the point now. So what do you think? Is this fresh charges going to be the last, or the unseen hand is still operating behind? Share your thought with me on the comment section. And of course, you know the vibe now. Click on that subscribe button, follow, and share for more updates. Because like this, we